Hello everybody, bienvenido a todo. Welcome to Valbrut, which is my channel, and as always we are, well, as the screenshot kind of demonstrates, we are in Train Sim World 4, which is the latest iteration of Train Sim World. This isn't the latest route, this is the one before, so this is Blackpool, Preston, Ormskirk, and oh gosh, it's taking a while to load these days, doesn't it? But this is a nice route. It's well built, so hopefully, I don't think. Oh, I don't know actually. I think I have downloaded some drivers for the graphics card since, so it might be a bit stuttery while it brings in all the shaders and everything. We'll see. Well, anyway, today we are doing a service that goes from. Doesn't this say where it goes from? Well, it starts at Manchester. No, it started at Manchester Victoria, and we're picking it up at Preston, and then we're taking it to Blackpool North via Kirkham and Wesham, Poulton Left Field, Leighton, and then Blackpool North. It should be about half an hour, more or less. So let's get the train set up. So this is the Pacer. Well, it's a class 142, but it's part of a set of units known as the Pacers, which are diesel multiple units. Well, actually, they are. Let me start everything up first. Oh, unlock the doors. Oh my god. There we go. Okay, right. Lights on. I'll set everything up and then I'll heated screen on for sure. Capita fast. Cab light, destination light on. Yes, need to say we're going to Blackpool North using the destination blind. Ooh. There we go. Should be about right. Yep, there we go. So if you want to make sure that when you're twisting this, you get it direct straight in the middle, make sure it's facing away from you like this, and it will line up with the board. There we go. And I'm going to close the doors. We've got 30 seconds. That's about right. I'm going to take off the brakes, and then we'll get back to talking about this train. So, right, are the lights on inside the cab? Yep, they are. Well, inside the passenger cabin. The saloon lights, are they on? Yes. AWS is on, everything is on, so we're just waiting. Still got a red light, which I think should shift. No? Oh, there we go. And off we go. So this route is by Just Trains. So this is their first route. I think they might have helped. They've done stuff for like Train Sim Classic, but I'm not sure if they've done anything for Train Sim World before this route. But it's a really good start. Like probably the best British route in the game. I mean, yes, in terms of how it's built. You might not like the route itself because it's a classic route. It's mostly geared towards classic diesel, and the Pacer isn't exactly the most. How do I put this without annoying people? It's not the most exotic train that there could be, but they've got a really interesting history to them. So we'll go through that on our way. We're chugging along. So like I said, these are diesel multiple units, but actually only one of them is powered. The other one is just being dragged along. And what the interesting history behind these is that they were actually built by a bus manufacturer called Leyland. Oh look, so we're leaving Preston, and Preston is absolutely beautiful. It's a really nice station. I should have done a tour of it before we left, but I was faffing. But anyway, the departure is very famous because of this cathedral. What, is it a cathedral or is it a church? And there's another one over here. And so the West Coast Main Line is this one. That's why there's all these wires. And it continues up there. If you ever go on YouTube and look at some West Coast Main Line cab ride videos, you'll see as it passes through Preston just how sort of prominent that church is. But we're branching off. So there's the West Coast Main Line going off up to the north. And we're heading off towards Blackpool. So we're going to Blackpool North, which is here, and this is Blackpool South. And then these are some freight sidings. Ooh, look at that. So I don't have dynamic weather on because I wanted snow, but with like sun. So I wanted to get some nice pictures. Aha, there we go. I want a nice picture looking out from this window. There we go. So I want field of view to be like this. I want both those cathedrals in. And depth of field we can bring down. I don't think it's actually going to matter at this focal length. Well, maybe a little bit. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. There we go. Save and upload. Continue. Hide overlay. There we go. That's a nice picture, isn't it? There we go. See? And you can see from this image and the way the light's hitting those windows how much of it, how like a bus it looks. Which is all part of its wondrous history. Right. So we can go up to full speed now. We've got 6 miles to the next station. That'll give us, woof, at least 10 minutes, I reckon. Oh look at this. So if you haven't got this route and you're doubtful of it, look at this.
The next stop is Kirk.
How cool is that? So yeah, I mean, you can press that. I think it works on West Cornwall Local and Northern Transpennine Line as well, or Tees Valley, maybe. It definitely works on West Cornwall Local because this train subs in there. But it's pretty cool. But anyway, yes. So these date back to the 80s. These trains. There was like 4 versions of them. There was like a 140, 141, 142, and 143, I think. And they were like supposed to be a stopgap. So it was like British Rail didn't have money, but they needed new trains to replace lots of aging sort of first generation diesel multiple units, which had all been built in like the 1950s and 60s, and they were sort of wooden framed and all getting a bit rotten and slowly starting to, maybe not wooden framed, but they were certainly not very modern, and they were sort of reaching the end of their lives by the late 70s, early 80s, and so British Rail were kind of like, we can't really afford to fully replace them at the moment, but what we'll do is we'll find a stopgap, temporarily replace them for like, 5-10 years, and then the new train, which is going to replace all of them, will come along. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen. So I don't know if British Rail approached Leyland or Leyland approached British Rail and were like, hey, why don't we use a bus as the basis for our new train? And like the original prototype, if you look at pictures of it, does very much look like a bus. The body of a bus was just put on the chassis for a train. And it evolved over time, so I think that the 140 or the 141 has a very narrow body and it looks very much like a bus as well. But then these ones, so this one and either the 141 or the 143, sort of extend out over the side. They're much more built to be a bit more, take advantage of the space that you get in a train, which means you get these. Oh God, look at these are bus seats. If you were alive in the 90s, old enough to remember it, then you'll know these bus seats. I think they even have them on the new Route Masters in London, but even the moquette, that brown striped moquette, I can remember that from buses in the West Midlands. But as you can see, you can get 2 people on those seats and then 3 on these at absolute push. I doubt it would be fun, but maybe like parents and 2 kids maybe. But yeah, so these trains sort of, when they started out, they were just supposed to be a stopgap, temporary replacement, but turns out British Rail never really had the funding to develop a replacement for all of the first-gen diesel multiple units, and so when the Sprinters came along, they couldn't order enough of them to replace them, so all of these trains, which were at the time still considered to be perfectly in good condition, perfectly capable of continuing in operation, the government didn't want to give them money to replace them. So they ended up lasting until, I think the last one in passenger service was 2020. And they were well away from anywhere politicians would be. So the north and the west country, basically. You wouldn't have found a pacer in London. Oh no, they wouldn't have lasted as long if they'd have been in London. The politicians would have been like, absolutely not. But it's that north-south divide. So yeah, I mean, the modelling of these trains is really good. Really like specific. You can see all the rivets, reflections, lovely, and it's got working suspension. So I think at the moment only the 323 that comes with the training centre has fully working suspension, but now this one does as well. 142. Look at it bounce. And they are very bouncy trains, because rather than the normal train setup, which is you have the chassis and then you have a bogie which is sort of like attached and the wheels are attached to the bogie, this is just the wheels are attached to the chassis directly here. So it's very bouncy. They were not easy riders. Very few people who use them regularly actually like them. I mean, I don't particularly like them. I've been on one or 2. Went on one in Wales, which wasn't this one, had a different body, and then I went on a Northern Rail one, which I think was this one, but it had a nice snazzy interior with new train seats, but it was still felt like a tinny old bus. And slow. Oh no, way too fast. I can't put it up to step 3 either because it'll lock the brakes. Oh, I think I'll be alright. Down to 45 in enough time. There we go. So this is Kirkham and Wesham. Okay, release. Now we can saunter in 24. And we still got just over a minute, so we should be okay. We need to make sure we stop before that red. So I don't want the brakes to lock and just slide right past it. Because whilst in Train Sim World 4, I think it's Train Sim World 4, or maybe it happened at the end of Train Sim World 3, I can't remember. But you can miss a station now and carry on, it won't matter, but you can't run a red light still. If you run a red light, the session is over. But if there were no red light there and I missed this station, it would just continue and deduct points for me missing it. Come on, I don't want to stop yet. Got 30 seconds. Dun, dun, dun. Come on. Look. I locked the brakes there even. So yeah, look at these doors. Straight off a Leyland bus from the 80s. Oh look. Class 20, hauling a Mark 1 brake van and a brake 2 Mark 2s. Oh, there's another brake van. And there's another Class 20. So that subs in from Tees Valley, not Tyne. Tees Valley. And the coaches, I think, are included in this route because you get the Class 40 or 45, I think, included in this route. No, the 47. Yeah, the 47 included in this route, which is a slightly different variant from the one that was with Northern Transpennine. Comes with a few extra livers as well. And then so you get the coaches with that as well. Otherwise, it's just the 142, which is the majority of the services. But you do get a sort of handy amount of 47 freight and passenger services. It's not too shabby. It's a decent timetable. Like, it's definitely like the most scenic. I don't know. West Cornwall logo is pretty scenic. Oh, I mean, it's joint. I'd say joint most scenic, and it has the benefit of being very well built. Like lots of attention to detail. No glaring errors in scenery or anything like that. Runs well. It's a very good British route. Just the services aren't necessarily challenging in the way they are on Northern Transpennine. Where you've got the gears of the 101, you've got to deal with, you've got the hills, rapid changes in speed limit. This one's a lot more sedentary. It's not whiskey, it's iced tea. And the pace is very easy to drive. I mean, it is literally like a bus. I mean, it doesn't have a steering wheel. But it is literally just like go and stop. Brake and accelerate. That's it.
We will shortly be arriving at Polton le Filed.
Polton le Filed. Not field. Filed. Okay. Slow down. I think we have to cross the track a little bit. Yeah, we do. So this little layout is so strange because there used to be a line that ran through the middle here that was called the Blackpool Central line, and that ran into a big station that was here. That was the main Blackpool station. That was Blackpool Central, and this line actually, the one that now goes to Blackpool South, actually terminated there. But by the time this was, I mean, it was probably the 60s or the early 70s that they closed that completely and then tore it up, and I think built a road over most of the track bed. And that was kind of like because the decline in tourism to Blackpool as a result of cheap package holidays abroad, and so they didn't need all that rail infrastructure, so they tore it down. So now Blackpool North is the only kind of, it's not a very nice station, but it's Blackpool South is literally a single platform. It's literally like, it's not a station, it's like a single platform. No covering or anything like that. Whereas Blackpool North, you see, it's got like 8 platforms, I think. Yeah. The building is nothing special, but it looks like a station, like a terminus station. But Blackpool Central was like a big, proper destination station. Very classic. I don't know if it's Victorian Edwardian, but it was big. But all gone. All gone. I don't know what they built up there now. You know what? For probably most of the past 40, 50 years, the site was just empty, just car parking. And then they built a road along some of the route as a link with the motorway, I think. And then probably they started building housing and hotels, maybe. There's a lot of hotels in Blackpool already, though. So I guess like this bit of the line, this is why this layout is so strange, because this would have been like a major interchange station between like this line, which would take you to the north, this would take you to the south, this would take you to the centre. So there are services that will go from Blackpool South to Ormskirk down here, but Ormskirk and Blackpool South are both sort of like branch line, like single track branch lines. They don't have a double track, which means you don't really see any traffic until you reach the sort of main line. Oh, I'm speeding. There we go. Yeah, let's have a look at this route. Oh, look at that. I want it to snow because it's nearly Christmas. I've got the Christmas tree lights on and it feels very festive. Look at that, lovely. Looks gorgeous in the summer, in the spring. Come on. Oh yes, isn't that lovely? Lovely. Right, let's pretend we're a train spotter. Down by the side. Down by the side of this fence. No, actually, we've crossed the fence and we've gone up the back embankment. We shouldn't have done that, but look at that. Oh, isn't it lovely? I'm just going to take it. I'm not going to try and force a depth of field. I'm just going to take it because I think it looks lovely as it is. There we go. Look at that. Bouncy, bouncy train. That bounce combined with those seats, just not a comfortable experience at all. I can't remember what they've been replaced with. I think they've been replaced with 193s or something like that. They're very boxy looking trains. But then these are the definition of boxes, so can't complain. So then we'll get to here and then we'll shoot across and around to Blackpool. So I think that's the oh, I can actually just look at it, can't I, on my... Let's do that on my schedule. Pulton the fit. Oh no, there's 2 more stops and then Blackpool. Okay. It's been a long time since I've been to Blackpool. But generally it's a summer holiday like location because it's got a beach. And it's geared towards that, or was geared towards that market. But you can go in winter and see all the, I think the illuminations are there in winter. I can't remember if the illuminations are a winter thing or a summer thing. I guess they're a winter thing to like get people there in the winter. Off season, but like basically the whole seafront is like a very classic Victorian seafront, like hotels, and there's Blackpool Tower, which is like a sort of very small version of the Eiffel Tower. It's very not very similar at all. We'll see it when we come into the station, but it's like just an observation tower really. And then at the base of it, it's got like a ballroom, and it's all very of its time, I guess. Early 20th century, all very the kind of things people used to do. I mean, last time I went, the main attraction these days, I guess, would be the theme parks. So there's Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which is a theme park with roller coasters and attractions. It's like a theme park basically right on the seafront. That's where I went. That's the last time I went, was to see that, and it was nice, perfectly lovely. Oh, I'm taking this corner way too fast. My bouncer's going to bounce. Oh, I need to drop to 20 as well. So the theme park is like, I suppose you could call it interesting. But when I went, there was still some wooden roller coasters there. I don't know if they're still there now. They're in the game because it's based in the 80s. But there was like one called the Grand National where you like race horses. And there was another one. It was like a big wooden one. Look at that, about 47. That's the 47 that comes with this route. That's sort of taking care of the sort of long distance trips that are going to Blackpool from far away, whereas this is doing all the local services. So that's probably non-stop to Manchester. I mean, to Preston. There we go. So this is... Which one was this? Poulton Lefield. Okay, 10 seconds. I'll close the doors. Release the brakes, and I don't think with 1 second to go it matters. Yeah, off we go. We got 20 over this junction, and then we get back up to 70. But the next stop is very close, so we're not going to get to 70, I don't think.
The next stop is Leighton.
Later. Signal boxes everywhere in the UK. See one's very similar. And they always say the more windows it has, the bigger you can tell how important the junction was back in the day. Because there's some really, really big ones. But it's like the railway shrunk in the 50s and 60s. Obviously, a lot of the infrastructure's not there anymore. So all that's left is the sign that there was once something there. Something really big. And most of them aren't used as anything anymore because either they're just storage or because it's all automated from like signalling centres. Or electronically controlled, I should say. It's not. I think humans still do it in a lot of cases, but from like a centre miles away, they don't have to be on site in a junction box, in a signal box. Right, off we go. And there we go. Look at this. Well, one thing I'll say about them is they're very light and airy, and like but then they're noisy and tinny, so it's not even a good point. I always think this is like the train equivalent of like an Austin Maestro or Montego, like very of the moment, very 80s, but very, very cheap. Looks cheap. Like obviously the Maestro and the Montego are the cars that like put the death nail in British Leyland, and this isn't the train that really killed British Rail. They still designed really good trains after this, like the Class 91s, whizzing up and down the East Coast Main Line still today. They came out of the same, came after this. The Sprinters, they came after this. But this is like the low point, where like, although by the same token, lots of other countries have tried combining buses with trains before. I mean, there's a few countries that have like literally directly taken a bus and just converted the wheels into like into running on tracks. It never really works because there's no point if you remove all of the sort of comfort of a train, then you might as well just get a bus. And so usually what happens is they just end up replacing them with much better, nicer trains eventually, or closing the line anyway. I mean, a lot of people in defence of Pacers will say something like, oh, if it wasn't for the Pacers, lots of lines would have been closed because they were cheap and cheap to run, and they kept lines open whilst passenger numbers were down. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if like lines would have closed because they had a Sprinter on them, or they still had like a sort of Class 101 cascaded from somewhere else, but meh. I don't know. I don't hate them as much as I once did. Now that they're not in service anymore. When they were in service, it was like embarrassing, but now that they're like history, it's easier to sort of like look at them with like, oh, okay, well, you know, they were there. I can view them as like an artifact rather than as something that people have to endure day in day out still on a modern railway. And like most trains from this era, they look terrible in all of the all of the liveries they were given post-privatisation, they looked awful. Like buses. Like older buses. Just never suited them. They were built for this kind of... a couple of lines down the side. Always looked very nice. About as good as they ever could look. Lovely horn. Lovely horn. I think Just Train said that they like properly recorded this horn. Because they're, like I said, they're still running on Heritage Railway lines because they're heritage now. They are fully retired. We're going via location. Okay, we're going via location. I'm going to slow down. We've got a train coming. I think is that a 101? That looks like a 101 to me. Big brother. Yes, there it goes. Start slowing down wherever this red is. I don't know if it's before or after that go via. So I don't want to go straight to that go via and then run past the little red that's like right beside of it. Because a lot of the times the go vias like activate the next signal. There's a 47. Nice Mark IIs. Signal is down for sure. I'm going to drop. See if this activates it. If not, brake, brake, brake. There we go. Good old semaphores. Back when signals actually did more than just change colour. Onwards. We've got 3.5 minutes. We're fine. Oof, let's get one from here. Yeah, once again, we've jumped over the fence. We shouldn't have done. So we could get a nice shot of... This time I'll try and make a nice blurry background. No. There we go. A nice blurry background. Who knows which one is going to make the cover picture of the video. Just stay at 15 now. Then we saunter in. Blackpool FC. Blackpool Football Club. I assume. There could be another meaning of that FC, but there's Blackpool Tower. See? Probably, I think it's like maybe a third the height of the Eiffel Tower, but similar ideas behind it, like constructed out of, I guess, steel. If it's that close to the sea, they wouldn't have made it out of iron, it would have corroded. Or maybe it was made out of iron, I don't know. Has a very static looking flag up top. But yeah, that's from the heyday, the glory days when like a random town on the sea, next to the sea in the northwest of England could attract enough investment to build a tower like that. Nowadays it would be a tower block, and only a tower block. Well, a residential tower block developed by private developers, not the old version of what a tower block was, which was like a council estate. Definitely need more of them. Not enough houses in the UK. Right, there we go. So this is now Blackpool North, and it wasn't always Blackpool North. Back when there was Blackpool Central, and that was the main station. This like just had a sort of, I think it was named after the road in front of it. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but now as it's like the main Blackpool station, it's Blackpool North. As you can see, it has a sort of remnants of canopies. They sort of stop, and just the two platforms have the full canopy. And it has the booking hall, which is a nice concrete building. I think that was built as the replacement for Grand Central. Blackpool Central. Grand Central. Although it was an impressive station, probably could have rivaled Grand Central back in its day, Blackpool Central. Well, look, we've got a... Oh, it's a Class 20 coming in. Oh, maybe it was that one that we passed. It's gone back. It's driving the right way. As in, it's driving backwards. Because if you drive the other way around, which is how they were designed to drive this way, it's like you have that window to look out of. They were sort of designed on the old versions of steam engines. There was like, I'm sure like British Rail once made a train that looked exactly like a steam engine, but was actually powered by petrol or gas turbine or something. It literally had the exact shape of a steam engine, but it didn't have coal or didn't have a steam engine. Right, well, I got a platinum medal. That's something. But I did speed, so I did lose points. So I didn't get the maximum points I could have gotten. But I'm pretty okay with that. I don't mind. And I did not leave my vehicle unsafely, and I didn't hit anything. So I'm pretty content. Right, we'll go back to free roam. So I can show you some of the niceties of this. So what's nice about it is that it is very nicely modeled to the degree of like you have to do all of this to open the door and everything. You can't just press the button like open, release the doors. That I'm just opening that door, so that's like the guard panel. But it's not like oh, that's why. No, off doesn't need to be on now because there's a panel out here as well that you use. Now this is proper like. No, I want to close it. There we go, and then lock it. There we go. So now the train is locked, and we can have a little bit of an explore around the station. It's nice, but it's not amazing. I mean, you can see like it's a sort of concrete corridor with a leaky roof. This person doesn't seem to care. And we got the CRT monitors with all the trains, and they're all going to Manchester Victoria. And we've got, I think we've got a cafe down here as well. Oh, we've got a ticket office. The actual people, not machines. Although he looks like he's very grumpy. He's like, I'm not helping. I'm not helping. Then we got the Railway Cafe. Very 80s. Some very appetizing food. Beige food. Soylent beige. The food of the 80s. And then I think out here is like was a bus station. I don't know what it is now. But like you can see. A Leyland. That's a double decker. I mean, one of the old ones that that the Pacers were based on. Well, they were based on the single deckers. You know, you could fit a double decker bus on a. Well, no, you could fit. There are railways in the UK that have been converted, like they were closed in the like 70s and 60s, and then have been reopened as. We can go up there as well on just going to take you up there and then we'll end the video. They've been reopened as guided busways, and they can take double-decker buses, because buses obviously sit much lower than trains. Oh look, here's another pacer. What colour is this one? Oh, it's the same as ours. There's some Manchester ones that are orange. That's like the Greater Manchester Passenger Transport Executive, GMPTE. And then there's the blue ones, and then there's some cream and chocolate brown ones. Poo brown, really. Which I think were like the 90s version of the 90s livery. So yeah, here's an office of some sort where people just look out over the station. I guess it was the thing to do back then. And you see, you can't just walk through doors. It's weird, but you have to go around the outside. But oh well. As you can see, this is kind of it. I've given you like, I've given you sort of like half the route. So that's Preston, and we've done this bit. Then you got the Ormskirk bit, which is down here, and Blackpool South, which is, they're, like I said, they're both single track lines, so you see them all by yourself. You don't really cross any trains because they don't have any double tracking to allow passing. So once you're on here, you're like, that's it. You're not going to see any other trains, which is fine. It's not like, oh, that's a beautiful shot. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, that's lovely. Right. I'll take this picture, and maybe this can be that. Yeah, I'm going to take this picture. This is going to be the cover, I think. And then we'll end it there. I'll get that 7 in. I don't think I need any depth of field or anything like that, because I think this looks lovely. Got all the colours. Got rail freight. No, I don't want the rail freight bit in there too much. And I do want that 7 to line up with the edge of the screen though quite nicely. There we go, I think. And I think there we go. Maybe I will up the exposure a bit. Maybe I should do it a darker. No, I think that's fine. Right, so that's the picture taken care of. That's the route taken care of. And what else is there to say about this? They're probably, now if you've waited this long, you might as well wait until the new year and see if there's any sales on after Christmas. Like Boxing Day sales in Steam or PlayStation Store or New Year sales. But this is definitely a route that's well worth the full price. Like, it's very well built. Everything is modelled really nicely. It has a decent timetable. It's not going to blow your socks away like, say, London Brighton, but it's there's a lot more going on than there is, say, in Northern TransPennine. But Northern TransPennine is more of a challenge. It's a bit more hard work. This is several trains that are relatively easy to drive under relatively flat conditions. But there's some good scenarios. So yeah, I mean, what can I say? I recommend it as one of the best British routes for sure. That's for sure. With that said, I shall bid you adieu, and I'll might make another video before Christmas, but we'll see. It's really close now. It's like 2 weeks away. Is it? No, it's 3 weeks away. 2 and a bit weeks away. So if I don't, then I'll see you in the new year. I haven't got the new German route, and I'm not really planning on getting it at the moment because it doesn't really add anything that I'm interested in. But if there's some DLC for it, that it brings in like a classic diesel train, that might be more interesting for me. And I don't know what else is due. Oh, there's a Swiss line coming out, which I probably will get. That's a Rivet Games line, but that I think won't be till the new year. And that's a sort of narrow gauge railway. That one I'm probably going to get day one. But otherwise, I'm fairly content with what I've got. Like I said in my previous video, the free roam option really brings life to a lot of the older routes and lets you kind of do whatever you want in the timetable, so you don't have to build a scenario. And so I can kind of fill my time with that for now. And with that, I shall bid you adieu and hasta luego. Merry Christmas if I don't post a video before Christmas. If not, discard the Merry Christmas and listen to the new Merry Christmas. Bye.